So guys, if you already haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel and please hit the like button on this. So guys, in this next news story, two drill rappers have been jailed for life for the needless killing of a 16-year-old boy in central London. Tariq Monteiro, who's 23, and Siyad Mohamud, who's 24, were part of a group which targeted Alex over a gang-based feud as he left a restaurant near Euston station on 12th of August 2019. The pair fled to Kenya immediately after the incidents and were arrested in Nairobi last year. They both refused to appear for their sentencing hearing at the Old Bailey. So Monteiro was ordered to serve a minimum of 24 years in prison, while Mohamud from Camden will serve at least 23 years. In a statement read to the court, Alex's mother, Beatrice Smith, described her son as a precious baby boy, and she said she could not get the image out of her mind of Alex being hunted by a pack. The court heard Alex was having a meal at a Nando's restaurant, but when he left the establishment, he was spotted in a chance encounter by members of a rival gang. Prosecutor Fiona Robertson said Monteiro and Mohamud were part of a group of 6 who were seen driving around in stolen vehicles looking for rivals to attack. After spotting Alex, the group undertook a planned and sustained assault after he was chased on foot before fatally being stabbed in a nearby street. Monteiro and Mohamud, who were believed to be part of the Agar Grove gang, were said to have been looking for members of the Kumbo gang in a continued episode of tit-for-tat violence. Months earlier, a member of the Agar Grove had been injured in a stabbing which the group believed was enacted by members of the Kumbo gang, the court heard. Monteiro, who raps under the name Suspect and was 19 at the time, was said to be in possession of a large machete-styled weapon and wore a stab vest during the attack. The court believes he was the one who inflicted wounds, while Mohamud was there as a backup but was deemed equally culpable. Days after the murder, the pair boarded a flight to Kenya, and they were eventually found in the Kilimani district in Kenya's capital Nairobi and returned to the UK. So sentencing the pair, the judge Sarah Monroe KC said the killing was another example of a needless loss of a teenage life. She added they had set out to kill their victim, then fled the jurisdiction, escaped justice and celebrated the killing by posting videos about the stabbing online. 3 other men who were all teenagers at the time have previously been sentenced in relation to the killing, and 2 other men wanted in connection with the murder fled abroad and remain unaccounted for. So I just want to say rest in peace, Alex Smith, and my condolences go out to your family. So previously, an Abdi Rahim Ibrahim was found guilty of murder and assisting an offender, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment to serve a minimum of 18 years. Prior to that, there was Arif Biyomi, who's now 22, who was found guilty of murder and was sentenced to a minimum of 21 years. So the trial heard how Alex Smith was attacked. They said that he was leaving a restaurant in Great Portland Street, and at the time he was in the company of others who were associated with the street gang. They were spotted by rival gang members, and a short time later, this group ran into a estate on the north side of Euston where they took refuge for a period of time. And it's believed that they had seen Mohamud and Monteiro among the rival gang members in 2 stolen cars before running off. Then 2 cars pulled up. Alex and his friends were eventually spotted, and Alex was chased by 3 males, Mohamud, Monteiro, and another man, where he was stabbed to death. Detective Sergeant Martin Slattery, the specialist crime, said the 2 men convicted today, Siyad Mohamud and Tariq Monteiro, were arrested and returned to the UK from Kenya in January 2022. They had left London days after the murder in a bid to evade justice, but thanks to the diligence of detectives from the Met Police, they were identified, and working alongside the NCA with the assistance of the Kenyan Transnational Organised Crime Unit, they were traced to Nairobi in Kenya and returned to the UK and brought before the courts. I want to thank Alex's family for their patience, as well as acknowledging the commitments of my colleagues in the Met and our partners in bringing these men to justice. I truly hope that these further convictions will enable Alex's family and friends to draw some comfort from knowing that these men responsible for killing Alex will spend a considerable amount of time in prison. Neither Mohamud nor Monteiro have shown any remorse throughout the trial and have offered no explanation as to why they committed such a heinous act. These convictions today reinforce the Met Police's commitment and determination to bring those responsible for serious violence on the streets of London to justice, no matter where they run or where they hide. And in a story coming from Lancashire ways, a Blackpool man could have died after being stabbed in the leg on the stairs of his flat in a row believed to be just over £100. The victim, in his 50s, was at home with his partner when he heard banging from downstairs. He went to see what was happening and was confronted by another man, Aaron Jones. He found the 21-year-old had walked into the stairway through a broken door. Preston Crown Court heard the man walk down the stairs to speak to Jones, and the younger man lunged towards him, punching him to his forearm. Jones has now been sentenced to 12 months in custody for the attack. As the man called his partner, he noticed Jones was carrying a knife. The man's partner picked up a metal pole to fight Jones off, but the youngster lunged towards the older man's stomach with the knife. The man fell down the stairs and Jones stabbed his left thigh through his jeans. As he ran from the hallway, he dropped the knife but stopped to pick it up again before riding away on his bike. John Close, the prosecutor, said, "What lay behind this remains somewhat opaque. The victim says he knew the defendant but not well. He believes it may be to do with the payment of £100 he made to a third party, but the reason is a matter of speculation." The man suffered a 5-centimetre long stab wound to his thigh, which was treated with glue at Blackpool Victoria Hospital. He said, "The incident really scared me. I was worried for my own life and my partner's safety too. I wouldn't normally involve the police in my life, but I felt I had to because of the seriousness of what happened. I haven't been stabbed before and it really shook me up. If the knife had gone through a major artery, I could have been dead." In a victim impact statement, the man said he no longer feels safe going out of the house and puts off visiting friends or going to the shop. He said since the attack he has fitted an alarm and doorbell camera to his home. So Jones pleaded guilty to Section 20 wounding and appeared at Preston Crown Court to be sentenced. His defence said he had a troubled upbringing and had spent time in the care system before joining the armed forces. However, he suffered mental health problems and had to leave the army, finding himself homeless on the streets of Blackpool. At the time of the offence, Jones believed the man owed him £100 and was out of desperation he went to try and get it back. He now realises it was an incredibly dangerous and stupid thing to do to take a knife with him. The recorder said fortunately the wound only required glue and closure strips. If you had hit his femoral artery, your petty arguments over £100 could have been a whole lot worse. It's left a psychological mark on your victim's well-being. So as I said, he sentenced Jones to 12 months custody less any time he has spent on remand. 2 men have been sentenced to almost 28 years in prison following a robbery where £38,000 was stolen from a building society. Shortly before 6 o'clock on January the 10th, 2022, Northumbria police were called to Nationwide Building Society on Wallsend High Street following a report of an armed robbery. 2 men approached a member of staff outside the building society, threatening the man, telling him to drop it, as they brandished what appeared to be a handgun at him. The man handed over the box to the robbers and they made off with a large amount of banknotes. The employee was uninjured, although feared he would be shot if he did not comply with the pair's demands. An investigation was immediately launched by the force's high-impact team, with officers carrying out extensive CCTV checks and door-to-door inquiries. This footage led officers to swiftly identify a Mercedes van as the getaway vehicle used by the 2 suspects, which after fast-moving inquiries led officers to identify the 2 men as their prime suspects. A few days later, 2 men, Stephen Bailey, who's 39, and Lee Cook, who's 47, were arrested. Within 48 hours, they were charged. They were subsequently remanded in custody, pending trial. Cook was also charged with a second robbery, which occurred at the same bank in November 2020, after an investigation led officers to notice similarities between the 2 cases as they reviewed evidence. The investigation also revealed that an imitation firearm had been used in the robbery. So last year, Bailey appeared at Newcastle Crown Court where a jury found him guilty of all offences and Cook pleaded guilty to all offences pre-trial. And they appeared at the same court and they were sentenced to as follows. So Stephen Bailey from North Shields, he was sentenced to 12 years and 9 months for 1 count of robbery and 1 count of possession of an imitation firearm. He was also sentenced the same day for breaching a restraining order. Talking about the sentences, Detective Sergeant Barry Smith said, "This was a serious incident that would have been terrifying for the victim, and I hope this sentence brings them and the wider community some reassurance. I also hope this acts as a warning to those who believe that it is acceptable to take what is not theirs and terrorize their neighborhoods. We will do everything in our power to see that you are brought to justice." So Lee Cook of Wallsend, he was sentenced to 15 years for 2 counts of robbery and 1 count of possession of an imitation firearm. The police officer went on to say, praising the officers and detectives who worked tirelessly to secure this verdict, he said, "This is excellent and has come because of hours of hard work, tireless persistence, a superb piece of policing." The investigation team trawled through huge amounts of CCTV to try and trace the suspects and invested a lot of time and effort into the search for those involved. Not only were they able to identify the perpetrators of one robbery, but the meticulous review and evidence helped secure the resolution to a second crime, which is reflected in Cook's lengthy sentence. This is an extremely rewarding outcome in return for a comprehensive investigation, and I know such hefty punishments as given out in this case undoubtedly will make thieves think twice. So guys, here's a few news stories coming from the streets of the UK, and as I said, if you can, please subscribe to the channel and also smash a like button on this video if you haven't already done so, and drop a comment below. It's your boy GC. Keep it locked, keep it real.